The Visigoths, a powerful Germanic tribe, emerged from the heart of Europe. Their journey began centuries before their fateful encounter with Rome. Originating in Scandinavia, they migrated south towards the Black Sea by the 3rd century AD. This region, with its vast plains and fertile lands, became their new homeland. The Visigoths, skilled warriors and pastoralists, established a formidable presence. The Goths were not a monolithic people. They were divided into two main branches, the Visigoths and the Ostrogoths. While both groups played significant roles in the events to come, our focus lies with the Visigoths. These Western Goths forged a distinct identity. They developed a complex social structure and a rich cultural heritage. Their warrior ethos and their burgeoning contact with the Roman world would shape their destiny. The Visigoths' interactions with the Roman Empire were initially marked by both conflict and cooperation. Trade and diplomacy characterized some periods. At other times, skirmishes and raids defined their relationship. This complex interplay fostered a growing awareness of Roman power and culture among the Visigoths. However, it also revealed the empire's inherent vulnerabilities. These early encounters foreshadowed the dramatic events that would unfold in the late 4th century. The Visigoth story is one of resilience, adaptation, and ultimately transformation. Their journey from the shores of the Black Sea to the heart of the Roman Empire is a testament to their tenacity. It is a tale of survival against overwhelming odds. As we delve into their saga, we will witness the clash of civilizations and the birth of new orders. The year 376 AD marked a turning point in Visigothic history, and indeed in the history of the Western world. A new power emerged from the steppes of Central Asia, the Huns. These fierce warriors, known for their equestrian skills and ruthlessness, swept westward, unleashing chaos and destruction in their wake. The Huns posed an existential threat to the Visigoths, who found themselves caught in the path of this unstoppable force. Faced with the terrifying onslaught of the Huns, the Visigoths made a desperate decision. They appealed to the Roman Empire for refuge. Seeking safety within the empire's borders, they pleaded with the Roman Emperor Valens for permission to cross the Danube River. This act of supplication was a measure of their desperation. It was a gamble that would have far-reaching consequences for both the Visigoths and the Roman world. Emperor Valens, facing his own challenges and misjudging the true nature of the Gothic plight, granted permission for the Visigoths to cross the Danube. He saw in them a potential source of manpower and revenue for the empire. However, the scale of the migration overwhelmed Roman officials. Corruption and mismanagement plagued the resettlement efforts. The Visigoths, promised food and land, instead encountered hostility, exploitation, and betrayal. The Roman failure to honor its commitments sowed the seeds of resentment and rebellion among the Visigoths. What began as a desperate plea for sanctuary transformed into a struggle for survival. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the foundations of Roman power. The fragile peace built on broken promises and simmering anger was about to shatter, forever altering the course of history. The year 376 AD. The Danube River, a formidable natural barrier, flowed between the Visigoths and the Roman Empire. For the Visigoths, fleeing the terrifying onslaught of the Huns, this river represented a threshold between desperation and hope. Their chieftain, Fritigern, a leader of great charisma and tactical acumen, had secured from Emperor Valens the right to cross into Roman territory. They were promised safety, land, and a future free from the Hunnic terror. The crossing itself was a chaotic and perilous affair. Thousands upon thousands of men, women and children, laden with their meager belongings, traversed the river. Boats, rafts and makeshift ferries were pressed into service, their progress slow and fraught with risk. The waters of the Danube, usually a symbol of life and abundance, were now a swirling torrent of uncertainty and fear. Yet despite the hardships, a flicker of hope remained. The Romans, they believed, would honor their word. However, the reality that awaited the Visigoths on the Roman side of the Danube was a cruel betrayal of their hopes. Instead of finding refuge and support, they encountered hostility and exploitation. Roman officials, overwhelmed by the sheer number of refugees and driven by greed, saw an opportunity for personal gain. Food and supplies promised by the empire were withheld or sold at exorbitant prices. The Visigoths, already weakened by their arduous journey, found themselves trapped in a desperate situation. The Roman mistreatment of the Visigoths was not merely a logistical failure, it was a grave political miscalculation. What began as a humanitarian crisis quickly transformed into a powder keg of resentment and rebellion. The Visigoths, proud warriors who had sought refuge in good faith, felt humiliated and betrayed. Their desperation, fueled by hunger and anger, began to boil over. The seeds of conflict sown by Roman treachery were about to bear bitter fruit. The fragile peace that had accompanied the Visigoths' entry into Roman territory proved short-lived. The Roman officials, blinded by their own greed and arrogance, failed to grasp the volatile situation they had created. They underestimated the Visigoths' resolve, their warrior spirit, and their burning desire for justice. The Goths, pushed to the brink by Roman indifference and outright hostility, decided they had nothing left to lose. The first sparks of rebellion ignited in the form of small-scale raids on Roman settlements and supply lines. These acts of defiance, driven by hunger and desperation, were easily dismissed by Roman authorities as the work of unruly barbarians. They failed to recognize the growing sense of unity and purpose among the Visigoths, a unity forged in the fires of their shared suffering. Fritigern, the Visigoth chieftain, proved to be a shrewd and charismatic leader. He recognized the simmering rage within his people and skillfully channeled it towards a common goal: liberation from Roman oppression. Under his banner, the disparate Gothic clans, once divided by regional differences and rivalries, coalesced into a formidable fighting force. The Visigothic uprising, initially a series of isolated acts of resistance, quickly gained momentum, evolving into a full-scale rebellion. The Goths, armed with a potent mix of desperation and righteous anger, proved to be formidable adversaries. Their knowledge of the terrain, their equestrian skills, and their sheer determination gave them an edge over the complacent Roman legions. The Roman Empire, slow to react and dismissive of the threat, found itself facing a formidable enemy on its own soil. Section 3. Adrianople's Shadow, the Roman Response. News of the Visigothic uprising eventually reached the ears of Emperor Valens in Constantinople. Initially dismissive of the reports, believing them to be the work of local officials exaggerating the situation, Valens soon realized the gravity of the threat. The very heart of the empire, he recognized, was in danger. The rebellion had to be crushed, and quickly. Valens, eager to restore order and salvage Roman prestige, assembled a powerful army and marched west to confront the Visigoths. Confident in the might of Rome, he envisioned a swift and decisive victory, a crushing blow that would serve as a lesson to any who dared challenge the empire's authority. However, Valens's confidence was misplaced, his judgment clouded by a dangerous mix of arrogance and a desire for quick glory. The Roman army, though formidable in size and equipment, was plagued by internal divisions and complacency. Years of relative peace and prosperity had dulled the fighting spirit of the legions. Moreover, the Roman ranks were filled with mercenaries and conscripts, lacking the discipline and loyalty of the empire's legendary legions of old. Unbeknownst to Valens, he was marching into a trap, one set by a cunning enemy and baited by his own hubris. The stage was set for a confrontation that would have profound consequences for both the Visigoths and the Roman Empire. The Battle of Adrianople, as it would come to be known, would be a clash of civilizations, a test of strength between the old order and the forces of change. The outcome of this battle would determine not only the fate of the Visigoths, but also the future of the Roman world. Section 1. The Clash of Eagles, Adrianople, 378 AD. The plains outside Adrianople, a bustling Roman city in the heart of Thrace, became the stage for a pivotal moment in history. The year was 378 AD. Emperor Valens, leading a Roman army eager to crush the Visigothic rebellion, faced off against the forces of Fritigern. The Visigoths, outnumbered but not outmatched, prepared for a desperate fight for survival. The Roman army, arrayed in their traditional formations, relied on their disciplined infantry and superior weaponry. Valens, confident in the strength of his legions, sought a decisive engagement. He aimed to crush the Visigoths with the sheer weight of his numbers and superior discipline. The Roman strategy, however, failed to account for the Visigoths' determination, their knowledge of the terrain, and their growing skills in open warfare. The Visigoths, for their part, were masters of mobility. Their cavalry, hardened by years of nomadic life and skilled in the art of mounted archery, posed a constant threat to the Roman flanks. Fritigern, a cunning tactician, planned to exploit the Roman reliance on heavy infantry by drawing them into a prolonged and exhausting battle. He knew that time was on his side. As the sun beat down on the parched plains of Thrace, the two armies clashed. The initial Roman assault, a wave of disciplined infantry advancing behind a wall of shields, met with fierce resistance. The Visigoths, fighting with the ferocity of cornered wolves, repelled the Roman attack, their lines holding firm against the onslaught. The battle had begun and the fate of empires hung in the balance. Section 2. The day the empire trembled. Roman defeat at Adrianople. The Battle of Adrianople was a brutal and chaotic affair, a maelstrom of clashing steel, swirling dust and desperate cries. The Roman legions, renowned for their discipline, found themselves increasingly disorganized as the Visigothic cavalry harassed their flanks, launching hit-and-run attacks that chipped away at their formations. The Roman strategy, reliant on a decisive clash of infantry, was unraveling in the face of the Visigoths' agility and tactical prowess. As the battle raged, a critical miscalculation on the part of the Romans sealed their fate. A contingent of Roman cavalry, eager for glory and believing victory to be at hand, charged headlong into the fray, only to be ambushed and routed by a hidden force of Visigothic warriors. This unforeseen setback sent shockwaves through the Roman ranks, turning the tide of the battle decisively in favour of the Visigoths. The Roman army, now beset on all sides and with their formations shattered, began to crumble. Panic spread through the ranks as the realization dawned that this was no mere skirmish, but a catastrophic defeat. The Visigoths, sensing victory, pressed their advantage. Their warriors, fueled by years of resentment and the thirst for revenge, cut through the fleeing Romans. Emperor Valens, his dreams of a swift victory turned to ashes, found himself surrounded by enemies. His personal guard, overwhelmed by the ferocity of the Visigothic attack, fought bravely but in vain. Valens himself, according to some accounts, perished on the battlefield, his body never found. The death of an emperor, a blow to Roman morale, signalled the magnitude of the defeat. Adrianople was a disaster for Rome, a wound from which the empire would never fully recover. Section 3. In the wake of disaster, the impact of Adrianople. As the sun set on a scene of carnage, the plains around Adrianople were littered with the bodies of Roman soldiers, a grim testament to the scale of the defeat. The Visigoths, exhausted but victorious, had achieved the unthinkable. They had vanquished the might of Rome, slaying an emperor and shattering the aura of invincibility that had long surrounded the Roman legions. The news of Adrianople sent shockwaves throughout the Roman world. It was Rome's most devastating defeat in centuries, eclipsing even the disaster at the Teutoburg forest. The empire, already grappling with internal divisions and economic woes, was now faced with a profound military crisis. The myth of Roman invincibility lay shattered, and the barbarians, once at the fringes of the empire, had proven their ability to strike at its very heart. The defeat at Adrianople had far-reaching consequences. It emboldened other Germanic tribes, who saw in the Visigothic victory an opportunity to challenge Roman authority. The balance of power in the Western world had shifted. the Roman Empire, weakened and demoralized, was forced to reassess its relationship with the Germanic peoples, who could no longer be viewed as mere barbarians to be subdued. Adrianople marked the beginning of the end of Roman dominance in Western Europe. While the empire would linger on for centuries, its aura of invincibility was irrevocably shattered. The Visigoths, once refugees seeking sanctuary within Roman borders, had become a force to be reckoned with, their victory at Adrianople a harbinger of the turbulent centuries to come. The Western world was entering a new era, an era of migrations, invasions, and the rise of new powers. Section 1. A troubled peace, Visigoths as Feodorati. Following their stunning victory at Adrianople, the Visigoths, now a force to be reckoned with, dictated terms to the beleaguered Roman Empire. Gone were the pleas for refuge, replaced by demands for land and recognition. In 382 AD, the Emperor Theodosius I, successor to the fallen Valens, concluded a treaty with the Visigoths, granting them the status of Feodorati within the empire. This agreement, a necessity for a weakened Rome, marked a significant shift in the relationship between the two powers. The Feodorati system, a long-standing Roman practice, allowed for the settlement of foreign groups within imperial territory in exchange for military service. In theory, it was a mutually beneficial arrangement, providing Rome with much-needed manpower and the Feodorati with land and a measure of autonomy. However, in the case of the Visigoths, the Feodorati agreement proved to be an uneasy truce, a temporary solution to a much deeper problem. The Visigoths, settled primarily in the Balkans, chafed under Roman oversight. While the treaty granted them a degree of self-governance, they remained subject to Roman law and administration. Moreover, the memory of past betrayals and the constant prejudice they faced from Roman officials fueled resentment and mistrust. The Visigoths, proud warriors who had tasted victory, were not content to be mere pawns in the Roman game. For their part, the Romans viewed their Visigothic allies with a mixture of suspicion and fear. The memory of Adrianople, a constant reminder of the empire's vulnerability, cast a long shadow over the relationship. Roman officials, wary of the Visigoths' military power and their potential for unrest, kept a watchful eye on their movements, further exacerbating tensions. The seeds of future conflict, sown in the ashes of Adrianople, continued to germinate, threatening to erupt once more. Section 2. The westward migration pressure and opportunity. The uneasy peace that followed the Treaty of 382 AD proved to be short-lived. The Visigoths, restless and ambitious, found themselves caught between a rock and a hard place. To the east, the spectre of the Huns loomed large, a constant reminder of the threat that had driven them into Roman territory in the first place. To the west, the heart of the Roman Empire, weakened but still wealthy, beckoned with the promise of plunder and opportunity. Several factors contributed to the Visigoths' decision to resume their westward migration. The fertile lands of the Balkans, already densely populated, could not sustain the growing Visigothic population. Moreover, the Visigoths, accustomed to a life of movement and conquest, found the confines of their allotted territories stifling. They yearned for a land they could call their own, a kingdom free from Roman interference. The political climate within the Roman Empire further fueled the Visigothic desire for change. The death of Theodosius I in 395 AD plunged the empire into a period of instability. Theodosius's sons, Arcadius and Honorius, divided the empire between them, with Arcadius ruling the east and Honorius the west. This division, while intended to streamline governance, in reality weakened the empire, creating opportunities for ambitious outsiders like the Visigoths. The Visigoths, under the leadership of a new and ambitious king, Alaric I, recognized the shifting tides of power. Alaric, a skilled warrior and a shrewd politician, saw in the Roman Empire's weakness a chance to secure a lasting legacy for his people. He rallied the Visigothic warriors, promising them glory and riches, and set his sights on the ultimate prize, Rome itself. Section 3. Towards a new destiny, the Visigothic gaze shifts west. In 395 AD, Alaric I, the newly crowned king of the Visigoths, led his people out of the Balkans and into the heart of the Roman Empire. Their destination, the wealthy provinces of Greece, a land ripe for the taking. This westward migration, a turning point in Visigothic history, marked the beginning of a new chapter in their saga, one that would see them transform from foederati to conquerors. The Visigothic invasion of Greece sent shockwaves through the Eastern Roman Empire. Cities that had once stood as beacons of civilization trembled before the might of Alaric's warriors. The Roman response, hampered by internal divisions and the incompetence of its commanders, proved ineffective. Alaric, a master of both strategy and opportunism, led his forces from victory to victory, his reputation as a formidable adversary growing with each passing battle. For the Visigoths, the invasion of Greece was more than just a raid for plunder. It was a statement of intent. They were no longer content to be mere allies of Rome, subject to its whims. They sought a new destiny, one in which they would be masters of their own fate. Their sights were set on nothing less than carving out a kingdom of their own from the decaying corpse of the Roman Empire. The Visigothic incursion into Greece, while devastating, proved to be a temporary affair. The Eastern Roman Empire, though weakened, was still a force to be reckoned with. Stilicho, the Vandal general who served as the power behind the throne of the young emperor Honorius, recognized the threat posed by Alaric's forces. He assembled a powerful army intending to drive the Visigoths back into the Balkans and reassert Roman authority. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of the Western Roman Empire. Section 1. The Sack of Rome, a city shrouded in fear. The year 410 AD cast a long shadow over the Roman world. For centuries, Rome had stood as a symbol of power, wealth, and enduring strength. The legions had marched from its gates to conquer vast territories, bringing both glory and fear to the known world. Yet now, the seemingly invincible city found itself facing an unprecedented threat. Alaric and his Visigoths, hardened by years of warfare and driven by ambition and a thirst for vengeance, were at the gates. The citizens of Rome, accustomed to a life of relative peace and prosperity, were gripped by a fear unlike anything they had experienced. Rumors of the Visigoths' brutality, their ruthlessness in battle, and their insatiable appetite for plunder had spread like wildfire, carried by terrified refugees fleeing the advancing Gothic army. The streets, once bustling with commerce and activity, were now eerily deserted as people barricaded themselves within their homes, praying for deliverance from the impending doom. The Roman Senate, a body once renowned for its wisdom and authority, was now a shadow of its former self, paralyzed by indecision and fear. Some senators advocated for a desperate defense of the city, rallying the remaining legions and the civilian population to man the walls. Others, convinced that resistance was futile, argued for appeasement, urging the Emperor Honorius, safely ensconced in his northern capital of Ravenna, to negotiate with Alaric at any cost. As the Visigothic army drew closer, a sense of dread settled over the city. The walls of Rome, once thought to be impregnable, now seemed woefully inadequate against the determined Gothic onslaught. The citizens, trapped within the city's confines, could only wait and pray, their fate hanging precariously in the balance, their world on the brink of irreversible change. Section 2. The Visigoths at the gates. A breach in the Eternal City. The Visigoths, encamped outside the Aurelian walls, presented a formidable sight. Decades of campaigning across the empire had honed their skills in siege warfare. They had learned from the Romans themselves, adopting and adapting their techniques, and were now prepared to turn this knowledge against the heart of the empire. Alaric, a master strategist, knew that a direct assault on Rome's formidable defences would be costly and risky. Instead, he opted for a more cunning approach, a tactic that exploited Rome's greatest vulnerability, its dependence on a constant supply of grain from its vast territories. By cutting off Rome's supply lines, Alaric intended to starve the city into submission. His plan worked to devastating effect. Within weeks, Rome was in the throes of a famine. Food prices skyrocketed, and the poor, already struggling to survive, were pushed to the brink. Riots erupted in the streets as hunger gnawed at the city's underbelly. The Senate, desperate to avert disaster, sent envoys to Alaric, hoping to negotiate a settlement. Alaric, ever the pragmatist, saw an opportunity to extract a hefty ransom from the desperate Romans. He demanded a vast sum of gold, silver, and valuable goods in exchange for lifting the siege. The Senate, with little choice, agreed to his terms, hoping to buy time, and perhaps a miracle. However, the reprieve was short-lived. While the Romans scrambled to gather the promised tribute, treachery struck from within. In a move that would have profound consequences, the gates of Rome were treacherously opened to the Visigoths on the night of August 24th, 410 AD. Whether by collusion, bribery, or sheer incompetence, the defences of the Eternal City were breached, and the Visigoths, led by Alaric, poured through the gap, their eyes burning with a mixture of triumph and vengeance. The sack of Rome, an event that would reverberate through the ages, had begun. For 3 days and nights, the Visigoths rampaged through the streets of Rome. The city, once a beacon of civilization and order, descended into chaos. Fires raged unchecked, casting an eerie glow over the terrified populace. The streets ran red with the blood of Roman citizens, their pleas for mercy drowned out by the roar of the flames and the screams of the dying. The Visigoths, their fury unleashed, showed little mercy to those who crossed their path. Temples and palaces were looted of their treasures, centuries of accumulated wealth vanishing into the hands of the invaders. Statues, symbols of Roman pride and power, were toppled and defaced. The Visigoths, driven by a combination of greed, vengeance, and perhaps a desire to strike at the very heart of the empire that had so long oppressed them, left their mark on every corner of the city. Even the sacred tombs of emperors were not spared, their contents plundered for any valuables they might hold. Yet amidst the carnage and destruction, there were also acts of restraint and even mercy. Alaric, a devout Christian, had instructed his warriors to spare churches and Christian sanctuaries. There are accounts of Visigothic soldiers protecting Roman citizens from the worst excesses of the sack. Their actions a testament to the complex web of motivations that drove this momentous event. The sack of Rome, while undeniably a catastrophe, was not a mindless orgy of violence. It was a calculated act of destruction and plunder, a message sent to the world that the Roman Empire, for all its might, was no longer invincible. When the Visigoths finally departed Rome, their baggage trains laden with the spoils of their victory, they left behind a city in ruins, its spirit broken, its people traumatized. The sack of Rome in 410 AD, a pivotal moment in history, marked a symbolic end to an era. The Western Roman Empire, already teetering on the brink of collapse, had been dealt a mortal blow, its aura of invincibility shattered forever. The Visigoths, once refugees seeking sanctuary, had become conquerors, their names etched in the annals of history as the barbarians who sacked Rome. The world would never be the same. The sack of Rome, while a momentous event, did not mark the end of the Visigothic journey. Their time in the ravaged city was brief, a fleeting moment of triumph amidst the ruins of a fading empire. Driven by a combination of pragmatism and ambition, Alaric led his people out of Italy, their sights set on new horizons. Their path led them north, across the Alps and into the heart of Gaul, a land already teeming with diverse peoples and cultures. Gaul, a vast territory encompassing much of modern-day France, was a land of opportunity for the battle-hardened Visigoths. Weakened by internal strife and the constant pressure of barbarian migrations, Roman control over the region had waned. The Visigoths, sensing a power vacuum, seized the moment, their arrival heralding a new chapter in the tumultuous history of the region. Their initial incursions were marked by both violence and negotiation. They clashed with Roman legions, still clinging to vestiges of their former glory. and forged alliances with local rulers seeking to carve out their own domains in the waning days of Roman authority. The Visigoths, masters of adaptation, quickly grasped the complexities of Gaulish politics, their skills honed by years of navigating the treacherous currents of Roman intrigue. Through a combination of military prowess and shrewd diplomacy, the Visigoths secured a foothold in southwestern Gaul, establishing their capital at Toulouse, a strategic city ideally positioned to control vital trade routes and command the surrounding territories. The year 418 AD marked a pivotal moment in their history, for it was then that the Visigothic kingdom of Toulouse, a testament to their resilience and ambition, was formally recognized by the Roman Empire. This recognition, however, was born more out of necessity than genuine acceptance. The Romans, their power waning, were forced to acknowledge the reality of the situation. The Visigoths were no longer mere raiders or temporary allies. They were now a power in their own right, their destiny intertwined with the fate of Gaul itself. Section 2, the Kingdom of Toulouse, Rise of a Visigothic Power. The establishment of the Visigothic Kingdom of Toulouse marked a turning point in their history. No longer were they a nomadic people on the move, seeking refuge or plunder. They had become builders, establishing a lasting presence in the heart of Western Europe. Under the leadership of a succession of capable kings, the kingdom flourished, its influence extending far beyond the walls of Toulouse. King Theodoric I, successor to Alaric, proved to be a shrewd ruler, consolidating Visigothic control over Aquitaine and expanding their territories through a combination of diplomacy and military campaigns. He understood that the survival of their newfound kingdom depended not only on military strength, but also on establishing a stable and prosperous realm. The Visigoths, despite their reputation as warriors, were quick to embrace aspects of Roman administration and culture. They adopted Roman law, adapting it to suit their own traditions, and encouraged the use of Latin, the language of administration and commerce. This blending of cultures, a hallmark of the Visigothic kingdom, laid the foundation for a unique society, one where Roman and Germanic traditions intertwined. Theodoric I's reign also saw the Visigoths engaged in a series of conflicts with other Germanic groups vying for control of Gaul. The Vandals, the Suebi and the Alans, all driven by their own ambitions, clashed with the Visigoths in a complex dance of alliances and betrayals. The Visigoths, battle-hardened and led by capable commanders, emerged from these conflicts as the dominant power in southwestern Gaul, their kingdom standing as a bulwark against further incursions. Section 3, Law and Legacy, the Visigothic Mark on Gaul. The Visigothic kingdom of Toulouse was not merely a military power, it was a centre of learning and lawmaking. King Euric, who ascended to the throne in 466 AD, is remembered for his codification of Visigothic law, a monumental achievement that had a lasting impact on the legal landscape of Western Europe. Known as the Breviary of Alaric, this comprehensive legal code blended Roman legal principles with Visigothic customs and traditions, creating a unique synthesis that reflected the hybrid nature of Visigothic society. The Breviary of Alaric addressed a wide range of legal matters from property rights and inheritance laws to criminal justice and the status of slaves. It provided a framework for governance and helped to regulate the complex interactions between the Visigothic elite and their Roman subjects. This codification of law, a testament to the Visigoths' growing sophistication as rulers, contributed to the stability and prosperity of their kingdom. The Visigothic reign in Gaul was not without its challenges. They faced constant pressure from the Franks, a powerful Germanic confederation emerging in the north, and their relationship with the Roman Empire remained complex and often fraught with tension. Yet, despite these challenges, the Visigoths left an enduring legacy on the lands they ruled. Their kingdom, though eventually eclipsed by the rising power of the Franks, played a pivotal role in shaping the cultural and political landscape of Western Europe. The Visigothic embrace of Roman law and administration, their patronage of the arts, and their unique blend of Roman and Germanic traditions left an indelible mark on the region, contributing to the rich tapestry of cultures that would eventually give rise to the medieval world. Section 1. The Fall of the West, the Rise of a New Order. The Visigothic kingdom of Toulouse, a beacon of stability in a tumultuous era, ultimately could not withstand the tides of change sweeping across Western Europe. The relentless advance of the Franks, a confederation of Germanic tribes united under the ambitious Clovis, spelled the beginning of the end for Visigothic dominance in Gaul. The Battle of Vouille, fought in 507 AD, proved to be a watershed moment. The Visigoths, led by Alaric II, suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of the Franks, their king slain on the field of battle. The defeat at Vouille shattered the Visigothic hold on Gaul. Their kingdom, once stretching from the Loire River to the Pyrenees Mountains, was reduced to a rump state in Septimania, a narrow strip of land along the Mediterranean coast. The heart of the Visigothic realm shifted south, across the Pyrenees to the Iberian Peninsula, a land already familiar to them from earlier campaigns. In Hispania, the Visigoths found a new centre of gravity. They established their capital at Toledo, a city steeped in Roman and Visigothic history, and set about consolidating their control over the Iberian Peninsula. The Visigothic kingdom of Hispania, though geographically smaller than its Gaulish predecessor, would prove to be no less influential. It was in Hispania that the Visigoths would leave their most enduring mark on the course of Western European history. The fall of the Visigothic kingdom of Toulouse, while a significant event, should not overshadow the remarkable achievements of this resilient people. For over a century, they had held sway over a significant portion of Western Europe, leaving an indelible mark on its cultural, political and legal landscape. Their story, from their origins in the forests of Germania to their conquest of Roman territories, is a testament to the power of adaptation, the enduring legacy of migration, and the complex interplay between continuity and change that shapes the course of civilizations. Section 2. Echoes of the Visigoths, a legacy forged in migration. The Visigoths, once synonymous with the sack of Rome and the chaos of barbarian invasions, have come to be recognized for their contributions to the development of Western European civilization. Their journey from refugees fleeing the Huns to rulers of a powerful kingdom is a testament to their adaptability, their resilience, and their enduring impact on the course of history. Their legacy is multifaceted, encompassing realms of law, governance, and culture. The breviary of Alaric, though eventually superseded by other legal codes, served as a foundational text for legal scholars in the centuries that followed, its influence extending far beyond the boundaries of the Visigothic kingdom. Their embrace of Roman administrative practices, while adapted to suit their own traditions, provided a degree of continuity in a time of profound upheaval, contributing to the preservation of Roman legal and cultural influences in Western Europe. The Visigoths, despite their eventual absorption into the broader tapestry of medieval Europe, left an indelible mark on the lands they ruled. Their architectural innovations, blending Roman and Germanic aesthetics, can still be seen in the ruins of their palaces and churches, a testament to their unique cultural synthesis. Their patronage of the arts, particularly in the realm of metalwork and jewellery, contributed to the development of distinctive artistic styles that would influence later periods. Perhaps the most enduring legacy of the Visigoths lies in the very essence of their story, a testament to the transformative power of migration. Their journey, fraught with challenges and triumphs, reminds us that the course of history is rarely linear, and that the interactions between different peoples and cultures, however tumultuous, often give rise to new and vibrant civilizations. The Visigoths, far from being mere destroyers of the old order, were in many ways architects of the new, their story echoing through the corridors of time, a reminder of the enduring power of human resilience and the enduring legacy of cultural exchange.